One of the things that causes me great joy is time with my grandchildren. They live across the country, and I spend as much time as I can, quality time with them when I'm visiting. And I play dollies, we swim, we just do all kinds of fun things. And I think the thing that I love the most is when they hop into bed with me in the mornings and say good morning.
I love the smiles on the faces of the children as they come into church.
Well, I was going to this group that I was going to, and they were asking me, do you have anything that are bad habits and that? And they were talking about lying, and I said, well, I think small lies are no big deal, And they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, my daughter bought these pink swimsuit for me to wear. She asked me about 2 weeks later if I had worn them yet, and I told her I did. And I said, I said, but I didn't wear no pink swimsuit to the Rexplex. And they all went, and they just said, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. You got to tell your daughter the truth. And I said, oh, well, I understand that totally perfectly, but I'm not telling my daughter I lied to her. So I'm just going to wear these pink swimsuits to the Rexplex this weekend. Well, that weekend there was this big snowstorm. It was this past January or whatever, and it got down real cold. And so I had a meeting I had to do on Monday night that I had to chair. But I didn't think anybody would be there because it's like 5 degrees and the school's already closed on Tuesday and everything, so I didn't think nobody would be there. So I had my Carhartt on and my stocking cap, and I wore these pink swimsuits to this meeting, and I didn't think nobody would be there. Well, unbeknownst to me, this one guy that was coming that night had 32 years clean, and they had a birthday cake for him. In fact, they had 2 birthday cakes for him, and 45 people showed up with me wearing these pink swimsuits. So needless to say, I had to sit there and tell them why I had a pink swimsuit on, and when it was 5 degrees outside. And so then later on, as I'm walking out, someone took a picture of me with it on, and so I go ahead and call my daughter the next day and tell her that I lied to her and that I had wore them yet, but I wore them now, that I did wear this, and I told her I went to this meeting and everything had happened. And so I said, someone took this picture, and she said, oh, I need that picture. And so I had to send her the picture of it, and kind of find out supposedly Carhartts are chic in Paris and New York now. And so everybody thought, oh, he looks pretty chic in that. And I'm like, did you tell him it was 5 degrees outside? And so needless to say, at the time it seemed like a shocker to me, but now I'm talking about it and having the picture to remind me of it, it's sort of funny, and everybody in the family thinks it's funny too. So it's just now it's a happy moment for me.
I couldn't pick just one, but some of my favorite memories are going to the lake where my grandma lived and just playing in the lake with my cousins all day. And she'd have fruit before us for lunch, and we'd just get up and eat lunch, and then we'd go back in the lake and play some more.
I want to tell you about my great-grandmother, Amanda Bell Phillips Long. She was born in 1866 and died in 1968. The age of 101 and a half. Belle had a sharp mind up until the last 2 weeks of her life. Belle was the oldest of 10 children. Her father built a wooden cradle for her. When Belle's parents were expecting their second child, her dad built another cradle and attached it to Belle's. This worked out very well. When her baby brother cried, Belle would move her shoulders and back and forth and rock her baby brother to sleep. Grandma Long said he cried a lot. When Belle was about 9 years old, she traveled from Tennessee to Missouri by wagon train. It was her job to walk beside the wagon and hit the metal rim on one of the back wheels with a stick so that it wouldn't come off. It was a long trip. My favorite childhood memory is anytime Mama talked about her maternal grandmother, Grandma Long, and anytime Grandma Long traveled from Pasadena, California to visit us in Memphis, Tennessee. It's one thing to hear Mama's stories about Grandma Long, But to have Grandma Long staying with us and hearing her stories firsthand about her childhood and Mama's childhood, that was amazing. And to get to know her as a real person. I remember when I was about 9 years old, Grandma Long made me a nightgown out of cotton material without a store-bought pattern. Grandma Long took a measuring tape and took my measurements and then cut a pattern for my nightgown out of newspaper. I got to go to the 5 and 10 cent store and pick out the cotton material I wanted. It was red with a small black print pattern. I loved that nightgown. It was so comfortable. Grandma Long was a strong Christian, and I have some wonderful stories to share with you sometime. Maybe I'll do a sermon on her one day. She was very strict with her children, but she learned how to love people with godly love and not scare them with the threat of fire and damnation. And that was Grandma Long. Thank you.
Hi Shiloh, Angel Ray here. I thought I would share with you a little bit of the silliness that I embodied while on vacation last year with my best friend. We are both big fans of the show Alone, and we also tend to like parodies, and laughing is just a fantastic way of overcoming so many obstacles. And all of this trip that we were on was just prior to my foot surgery, so we knew that I would be out of commission for quite some time, and maybe even more so than what I want to, depending on how good it went. So I hope you enjoy a little look at what life can be like alone on the Oregon coast. It's given me nothing. I knew I should have taken that flint and steel, but no. I mean, I guess I just get to die of hypothermia now. I lost my friend. She's out here somewhere. I mean, this is what happens. I get sucked into looking at tide pools. And I see a sea anemone, and then I see another sea anemone, and then the sea anemone sees me. And it knows. They're like sirens to me. They just call and say, "Look at me as I wave around in the water. Don't I look special?" And I just keep taking the photos. And now my phone is dead. I have there was no service to begin with. And she's out there somewhere. Hopefully she can make it. I mean, she tries. She tries.
So one of the things that brings me a lot of joy that I think a lot of you know is paddleboarding or kayaking, really anything on the water in the sun. And I wanted to share a little bit of why that is how I found paddleboarding. I was in a kind of difficult time in life where a lot of things were kind of falling apart for various reasons. And I wandered into actually a paddleboard yoga class just for something to do that was different from my everyday life because I needed a break. And I found so much freedom in that. I kind of discovered this amazing peace that I could find from a paddleboard. I've always loved being on the water, but something about that just gave me this sense of freedom, this sense of presence of God, where I could feel safe but also adventurous and try something new, something that I didn't think I could do when I first looked at it. And that just brought me so much joy that it's something I've really tried to bring into my life as much as I can, especially on these sunny days. Maybe not when it's, over 100 out, but when there's sun outside, I like to be there. And if I can be on the water in the sunshine, that's even better. And that's what brings me joy.
What brings me joy is twirling in a pretty dress.